What's going on, guys? It's been a minute since I've had a video here. I thought I would start it back up with a little bit of a product review on a product that I just used from good old Harbor Freight. It is the cheap one, the Pittsburgh Pulley Remover and Installer set. I just had to work on my Trans Am back here, and what had happened on those is, well, what I thought had happened was a high pressure line for the power steering had blown out. They caused a small leak, and then they drip onto the alternator. So essentially taking out the power steering pump and the alternator at the same time. So I replaced those both at the same time. Ended up not needing my alternator, but I replaced it anyways because I was there. And I had to pull off the pulley to remove the power steering pump, which is an excellent GM design like most things, you know. So let me show you guys that actually. So I don't know how well you can see here, but the pump here is in front of the bolts. There's actually 2 bolts to take it off. So you got to remove the pulley, not the pump. Remove the pulley, and then you can get to the high pressure line, which is back here, and then 2 more bolts. So to do that, I didn't need to pull that pulley off. I had heard of issues with people using these kits, and thought I'd go with it anyways, because to be honest, I'll use it plenty. So I went and got this Pittsburgh kit, and let's take a look at what's inside. So here it is. Don't mind my mess. I've been working through projects, but this is the Pittsburgh pulley kit. Multiple things going on here. This is going to be the kind of the primary tool that you use, and with that, you're going to use probably this guy. I mean, you kind of use it all, to be honest, depending on what you're working on, but it also depends on, you know, these vary depending on what you're working on. So they have multiple kits for multiple makes and models. For my job, I use this guy, this, and this. So in my experience, this has just about everything you need. There might be some special things that it doesn't have for like a BMW or an Audi or something, but I use this to pull the pulley off, which we use this guy, and we use the little jaws here. Basically what that does is it grabs the pulley, it grabs this, and you will twist that off, and it backs the pulley off. So I did run into an issue with this. If you use these on the F-body or GM power steering pumps like the one I showed, the little groove here is a little too thick. Luckily, I had another old power steering pump tool remover that I could modify a little bit. Same deal. It had these two halves, and I did have to modify these. As you can see, I did this with an angle grinder, so they're not straight at all, but I had to thin that side out so that I could grab that pulley properly on the vehicle. You can do that with an angle grinder. You don't need to take nearly as much off as I took. As you can see, I went a little crazy, but you take a little bit off there and it works fine. I had also heard reviews about this part here being flimsy. That might be updated because I can't get that compress even a little bit with my fingers. So getting it off, once I made these modifications, the pulley puller, it worked perfect. Putting things back on, you use like this thing with a little bearing in it. That is put up against the pulley, and then you use this again, and one of these anchors in the actual pump itself and screws into the other end of this, and then as you tighten it, it just presses the pulley on. This thing, it worked effortlessly. That worked perfect. So as a whole, I would say this kit worked pretty well. I did need to make my little modifications here. That wasn't a big deal if you have an angle grinder. If you don't, maybe be a little more specific in the kit that you buy for your GM vehicle. Overall, I would say this kit, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. It is a cheaper kit. I know they have a more expensive one that's about 40 bucks. I thought I'd try this one and see how it worked. I had to modify it a little bit, and it worked fine for me. For you guys, your results may vary, but like I said, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It worked. Nothing stripped out, nothing bowed or flexed or anything like that. One thing I found a little weird, and there's probably a purpose for these, I just don't know what they are, on these rods, which you actually put into the pump when you're pulling. It's like an anchor point for when you're pulling the pulley off the first time. They have little rubber pieces here. As you can see, hopefully you can see, that one's missing. It just kind of went missing. I don't know where it went missing. It actually was a little easier to use eventually without it. So it's just a little odd thing. A couple little modifications or things I lost / broke made this thing a little bit easier to use. So that's kind of that, guys. It's a quick and dirty review of the Pittsburgh Pulley Remover and Installer set. I think you have everything here you need to successfully pull and install a pulley for your power steering, potentially many other things. Definitely works for the GM power steering pumps like I showed you. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Pretty cheap. I think with a coupon it's like $30 or something like that, or maybe even cheaper, maybe 25 with the 20% off. But definitely give it a shot if that's what you're looking for. You can modify it to make it work if you have a couple simple tools like a grinder. So that's that, guys. I want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions on that set, be sure to ask. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.